What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Top Boxer Face Saver headgear, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so today we have this Top Boxer maroon face saver we're going to do a close-up weigh-in review on. And this is a full leather constructed face saver that is modeled after the winning FG 5000 face saver. Like many out there, they have their own iteration of the 5000 face saver. But as you can see here, like anything else Top Boxer, it's a very high quality piece of equipment, full genuine leather construction. You do have the ear donuts right there, fully padded. Underneath right here, you do have the plastic quick clip system for the chin strap right here. So you see that was the female end, this is the male end right here. So pretty standard. You do have that Top Boxer patch that's stitched on the forehead right there, and full leather construction again. You can feel it right here. The actual leather has kind of a nice shine to it, to the texture, and you can actually see where the bar is placed on the inside of the face saver. One thing to note with this bar is that it is a steel reinforced bar, meaning that you can mold this face saver depending on your head shape. Inside is a nice kind of a microfiber cotton liner, which is really nice for keeping the face saver against your face. It doesn't slide around like a leather on skin does. The only drawback to this face saver is that this material tends to soak up sweat a little bit, so it takes a little bit longer to dry. And I do like, which is my favorite, you do have that tapered back of the neck, as well as a rear lace-up, as well as top closure lace-up that goes through these leather loops. So you do have a nice adjustability with this face saver in terms of having the lace closure. I prefer lace closure over Velcro. I just feel like it gives a little bit more of a custom feel. And then you can just see the stitching. Everything looks really nice and clean. All the piping looks really nice and thick. Everything looks really clean. You know, typical with Top Boxer, you don't really find many flaws, if that, with this, just because they take their time in constructing this piece of equipment. So the next thing is going to be weight. So let's weigh this in. Now the FG 5000 from winning is about 15 ounces. It's considered to be one of the more lightweight face savers out there. So let's go ahead and put this on the scale and see how much this weighs. Just so before I put it on the scale, one thing I noticed right off the bat when I got this face saver was it felt heavier just by feeling it. So we'll actually see how much it does weigh when I put it on here. So this is about 16.8 ounces, so almost 17 ounces. Obviously 1 pound is 16 ounces, so 16.8 ounces. So this is definitely one of the heavier headgears. Definitely heavier than the FG 5000s in terms of weight. So if I were to say that was any drawback with this headgear, is the actual weight of it. And it's actually pretty noticeable when you pick this up out of the box. Your initial thought is, wow, this is a little bit heavier than I'm used to feeling with most headgears and face savers, of course. So just take that into consideration. This weighs just a little bit more by an ounce or two. I mean, it shouldn't really make a difference in terms of your performance. If anything, it would probably help with strengthening your neck as far as being able to move your head around for the mobility, but it does weigh a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do the review. What's going on, guys? Carlo here, and today I'll be doing a review of the Top Boxer face saver headgear. Got mine in maroon, and you can also get it in black, white, as well as green. Sizing wise, you can get it in size medium, which is anywhere between 19 to 21 inches, as well as large, which is 21 inches to 23 inches in circumference. So make sure when you measure your head, you want to measure a little bit right above the ear, basically the widest part of your head, and wrap it around. You can get yourself a string and then put it on a roller to measure it out. Or you can just get yourself one of those really flexible measuring tapes and just kind of put it around your head and measure it that way. Just make sure you get the correct measurement, that way you get the correct sizing. Now this headgear is a replica of the winning FG 5000 Japanese style face saver. And it does a really nice job. There's a couple of drawbacks I found with this headgear, which I'll go into more detail here in a second. But just like the Top Boxer cheek stop protector FG 2900 style headgear, I was really impressed with this. Obviously the quality on this is very top notch. You can see from a design standpoint, full genuine leather construction. One thing I did note earlier is that this headgear is noticeably heavier than the 5000. Is about 2 ounces heavier, and I think it's just because of the material that they use in here. Obviously it's full genuine leather. The grade and quality leather is a lot thicker, higher quality. It doesn't feel thin or cheap. So there's no synthetic materials in this, and obviously the padding is going to play a role into that as well, depending on the kind of padding they're using, which I'll go over here in a second as well. But you can see here that it has the top boxer patch that's stitched on the front. The leather has a nice shine to it, has this nice smooth feel. Again, does not feel cheap whatsoever. You do have this piping that goes all the way around the crown of the headgear. You do have a top lace adjustment right there. And then rotating to the back of the headgear, you do have a rear lace adjustment as well with the size large tag right there on the back. On top, you do have, aside from the top lace adjustment, you have these 5 leather loops that the laces go through. So you have the adjustability from the top in terms of the vertical adjustment on top of your head, as well as this rear closure, which helps with actually fitting it around your head and making it nice and tight so it doesn't come off or slide around. You do have the tapered neck on the back, as well as the padded donut holes right here for the ear with the little crossbar. These are about 3/4 of an inch high. It's a really dense material on the ear right here, so you can see it's pretty dense. It's not soft at all. So this is really good for absorbing any blows that come. If somebody throws a hook or a kick to your head, that'll be able to kind of protect your ear, especially the soft cartilage around your ear that you typically see a lot of the MMA fighters have, the cauliflower that they get here, and this is to help protect that so you don't bust your eardrum open. Same thing with on the left side, so identical with the ear holes right there. And then on the bottom, you do have this plastic quick clip system, which I really am a fan of. With this, you don't really have to worry about using a piece of Velcro that over time will eventually wear out, or the metal belt buckle style where you have to find the hole and you're constantly kind of tinkering with it to find the right hole. With this, you just measure it out to what you want to measure it right there with the adjustability of the clip. And from there, you can just clip it right in and get into your sparring, so you don't have to worry about taking too much time. And then the inside liner has kind of a microfiber felt feel to it, soft cotton feel, which is great for keeping the headgear on, not sliding around, and is very comfortable. The only drawback with this is that it does tend to soak up sweat and it dries out a little bit longer because of that. The padding, I would say on the front, is about almost 2 inches of padding. I'm trying to show you guys the best angle. And it has a nice firm density towards the face right here for absorbing shock. So you can actually see how much more denser the foam is on the exterior of the face saver. On the front right here, on the temples, around the cheek side, towards the front where the nose is at. It definitely has more of a denser feel. And then the material on the inside right here is slightly softer, and that's together with this cotton material that they use right here. So it's a little bit softer, but definitely has a little bit more firmness to it than the FG 5000, as well as the Sabas face saver. So one thing I did notice was how dense it is. And then you do have that 3/4 inch of padding right here around the ears, and that is really dense as well, both on the inside and the outside. You can see how dense this material is around the ears. Now the quality of this headgear is phenomenal. I mean, there's really nothing I found on this headgear that indicated anything of bad stitching. All the stitching looks really clean. The piping looks really good. You can see where the actual the quick clip for the chin strap is all stitched in. They use this nice X pattern to really reinforce the leather and keep that nylon strap reinforced in there. One other thing you notice right here at the end of this quick clip, he puts a nice piece of leather that's rolled on here so that the end of this nylon doesn't get frayed. It keeps everything nice and tight inside there. On the other side, you have this leather flap that covers the female end of the quick clip system. So I really like that. It keeps it nice and covered, so when you're sparring, it doesn't cut anybody open if you get into a head clash. So stitching on the front looks really good. That seam looks really nice. The stitching on top of the headgear looks really good. All around the crown, these leather straps right here are all nice and tightly stitched in. The liner is done very well as well. On the inside, you don't see any issues with any of the stitching coming apart, any areas of unevenness, and also how they stitched the leather to the inside material looks good as well. Definitely like that. One thing they do use is these really long laces. So One thing I will note to you is if you don't want this to bother you while you're sparring, is I kind of looped it up. So even when you tie it tight, you can see how much excess shoelace they use with this. And what I would recommend doing is getting yourself like a rubber band, and then you can just kind of loop everything up together and kind of keep it bundled up. That way it doesn't swing around while you do some sparring. So let me go ahead and put this headgear on to tell you guys how this thing performs and how it feels. So when you put this headgear on, the first thing I notice is how firm the padding is on the inside, and it takes some time to break in. So my initial thoughts with this padding is you're gonna have a little bit of pressure right here on the temple as well as on your cheekbones. And because of that, make sure that you guys adjust the frame. You might have to pull out on it or push in on it to get the fit that you want within the frame of this. You do have good side-to-side horizontal vision. Looking up, you have pretty decent vision. Obviously the vision right here is pretty good for a face saver. You're gonna have obviously a harder time to see uppercuts that are coming, or any kind of a strike or hit that might be coming upwards towards your face. So keep that in mind with this face saver. The bar in the front, I do have about I would say maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch of space between my nose and the inside of this bar right here. So when I sit it down properly, it's supposed to kind of sit up at a little bit more of an angle with the face savers. I think one of the big misconceptions with face savers is that the bar needs to be right in front of the nose, which is actually a misconception. This face saver should have a little bit of a tilt to it. And basically, so when it hits, when someone makes impact on your face, it kind of bends downwards instead of just going straight directly into your nose. So just keep that in mind when you do wear this face saver, that it'll have a little bit of a tilt to that. And again, that's going to be a little bit of a drawback when it comes to your vision, is because of this bar being right there. But again, initial break-in period there will be for the cheek and even on the temple area. So you'll just have to kind of work through it and feel that out. The back of the head, when I rotate around, you can see right here, the side view of the headgear, everything looks nice and proportionate. One thing I noticed is that my ears, this ear opening is a little bit off. And again, it might be different for you just depending on your head shape. But for me personally, my ears actually sit a little bit more far forward than the ear openings here. So you can see the opening is not bad, but I feel that my ear actually sits like the middle of my ear is right on this part of the padding right here. So it kind of sits a little bit differently than somebody else might have. So I wish this ear padding right here was pushed a little bit more forward for my personal head, but that's just me. And then you rotate towards the back. You can see the lace system looks really good. Everything's nice and tight. The great thing with this headgear is that you can adjust the rear lace closure as well as the top and just slip the headgear on and off. You don't have to worry about having to readjust this every single time. The only thing you have to worry about is putting the clip on for your chin strap, and that's it. So everything looks good on the back there. You have a nice tapered neck right there. That way you have good rotation of your neck. You can look, full range of motion. Again, with the side right here, this donut's a little bit off. Not a huge deal, but again, if you do take a shot to the side, I can feel that the actual pressure of the shot might go through. So it's just a little bit uneven with these donuts around the ears right there. And then lastly, the chin strap. This is another drawback I found with this headgear. I feel that this chin strap needs to be brought up a little bit further up on this headgear, maybe a little bit further this direction, because where it currently sits, it actually ends up choking right on my throat. And you can actually see right here, it actually sits right on my throat right here. So I found that if I was looking down, that this chin strap would actually push down on my throat. And you can actually hear it right now, just kind of pushing into my throat. This chin strap right here should be a little bit further up, right underneath the chin, not too far back on my throat. So I feel that maybe needs to be brought up a little bit further up. And again, it might just be me, like my head shape and where everything else sits. So it might fit okay for you, but I felt that the chin strap is a little too far back and should have been brought up a little bit further. That way it sits on the chin and not right on the throat. Because again, when I'm looking forward, it's fine. But the minute I tilt my head downwards, I can feel it really dig into my throat. So that's really uncomfortable. But overall, the vision feels good. It does take some time to break in. You will have a little bit of pressure points on the cheeks as well as on the temple. Just kind of readjust it using your hands as you go along, and then it'll give you a nice fit. One other big thing about this with taking headshots is that you're still going to feel the same amount of force as you would like an open face headgear. I felt like when I was getting punched in the head with this, I didn't feel really any difference as far as the shock or the velocity of the punch. It does a nice job. You won't get any, obviously you won't get any gloves that come through this opening right here. You know, obviously this is my bare hand, but if I have a pair of gloves on, there's no way for a glove to slip in here, yet alone touch your nose. So if you're looking for something that you have full front protection, this is a great headgear. You're not going to get any contact on your front. The only drawback again is that when you do take hits, it's a little bit harder to see. With the liner on the inside, it does a really nice job of actually staying in place. The other issue too is because there's this bar here, you might take some strikes and it pulls your head. So every time you get hit with this face saver on, it kind of pulls your head in the direction of where the face saver is headed. Whereas an open face headgear, you don't really have anything on the front, like a bar like you have here, that can actually yank your head in any certain direction. So with the face saver, if you get hit with an uppercut, it's gonna flip up and it's gonna kind of pull your head with it, as well as any side to side. So do keep that in mind with this face saver as well, or really any face saver that you get. So beautiful headgear. There's a couple small little issues with it, I find, with this chin strap. With the actual alignment with the ear padding on the side. But you know, overall for protection, if you're looking for good front protection, it does a really nice job with that. I just wish that the little creature comforts like the chin strap and the ear pads were a little bit better with this. Very nice liner, and overall just a really well constructed headgear. Cost wise, this headgear is about 110 US dollars plus free shipping. At that price point, that's pretty much an unbeatable value, and that goes along with the theme with every other piece of top boxer equipment. It's really hard to beat the quality that you get for the price that they sell this headgear at. Most face savers you see are, you know, depending on the model, you know, you're talking a couple $100, especially for the FG 5000. Some of the cheaper face savers, quality might not even be as close to this, so you kind of get what you pay for in that regard. But definitely a great headgear, minus the few little issues that I found with the chin strap. If he can perfect that, then this would be definitely probably the go-to headgear in terms of face savers and being able to protect your nose, and if you don't want any contact on the front of your face. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll make sure to put the link in the description box where you can find this top boxer face saver. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.